How we doing? How we doing? Welcome in. 7-3 Titans fans. After a long night at Lambeau with a tough walk to press parking because there's some kind of construction going on. It was a cold one, but and delayed flights this morning. But here I am in a potentially new afternoon time slot. Come on in. I'm heading out of town tonight. I hope you have big plans for the bye weekend. I do. Going to Greenville, South Carolina, see some family over the weekend for kind of an early Thanksgiving. So we're going to Knoxville tonight. Maybe give me a place to eat. And then to Greenville in the morning. But maybe I'll sleep during some of this ride because I have not caught up. Hope you had a big night. I know you probably did watching that game. It's always great to be at Lambeau in the snow. Retweet this if you come to us through Twitter, and that would be helpful. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Andrew, D. Gup, Dr. Harris, Juan, Wayne, number one, Adam, Midday PK. Yeah. Little old school. Jay finally got the tweet, the text. What's going on? Come on in and let's fire away. Talk about this team a little bit. That's a really impressive win. I think Green Bay Titans did a good job of exposing the Packers' weaknesses. Packers really sold out with the 6-man line, 5, 6, sometimes 7-man line to stop Derrick Henry, and it worked the way it's supposed to, where the Titans made them pay over the top. And even against Jair Alexander, one of the better cornerbacks in the league, Traylon Burks, beating him for that 51-yard play right at the end of the game, get that last first down, maybe stick a little dagger to Matt LaFleur. But it doesn't work that way that often, where Titans get that many people up against Derrick Henry and successfully then pass protect with play action and with downfield throwing, where they get the yards in the passing game. They had 5 passes for 199 yards that added up to more than they've thrown for in 6 games this year. Win downfield, really good game for the passing offense. And the defense got more out of the secondary than the pass rush. Only 1 sack. Aaron Rodgers came real late from Jeffrey Simmons. So Titans won a different way last night, which was really I think an important thing for them. How are we doing? I mean, Traylon's trending up, but it's just one game, and we've seen just one game out of a lot of people at a lot of different times. So we need to see him and them build on it. And we've seen games where a guy gets targeted a bunch. I mean, NWI was the hero last week, and he was a minor player in this one, right? NWI. Had 2 targets and 2 catches in this game for 28 yards. So 8 targets for Burks. Seems like they were emphasizing him, which we've all been asking for. And hopefully they carry it over, but you don't know if they will. I think Downing will definitely get suspended for his DUI charge. It's just a matter of when and how fast. Titans seek to, not the Titans, the NFL seeks to hold coaches and high-ranking coaches and executives and management to a higher standard even than players. So there'll be a message sent on this. It's just a matter of what the pace is for that. Really dumb by Todd. You guys have probably heard this multiple times by now. Everybody in the NFL has free Uber. But if you're putting together the timeline, the Titans probably landed in Nashville 1:30-ish. You know, I think he was arrested at 3:26, something like that. Intake was like 4:30. So odds are, beyond any drinking on the plane, that he did some drinking after landing or spent some time somewhere after landing, whether they went out for drinks somewhere or were back at the facility and had some beers. Foolish choice to drive after that, obviously, and has the option not to drive. Could have left his car wherever, Ubered home, Ubered back to work today or whenever. So really dumb. I think Irsay was penalized, Dwayne. What's up, Boonap? I don't think it's for the team to penalize Ed. I think it's a league discipline issue. Is there a straightforward rule against booze on the plane? Because I'm here to tell you, there's beer on planes after wins. I mean, and I think it's silly to suggest there shouldn't be. Guys are going to celebrate. These are adults on a plane after a win in which many of these adults have taken a physical pounding, and they're going to drink beers. They're going to. Now, if they have issues upon landing in terms of being sober, that's where you deal with Ubers or family pickup or whatever. But it's a couple-hour flight also, so I'm not telling you data about other people's blood alcohol levels, but I think a couple beers, on the runway in Green Bay, followed by a nap and some water or some coffee. There are probably guys who follow that procedure and get home safely, however you might feel about that. Whether it's banned or not, I would presume that is happening. I don't think it would go as far for a first offense, Sam, to a loss of picks. Well, Mean Mug asks, how many more games like this? Everybody retweet. How many more games like this from Tannehill before his haters quiet down? Look, this is not a passing-based offense. It's been 35 games since he threw for as many yards as he threw for last night, 333. So to think he's going to go have 3 more games like this over the course of the rest of the season is not how it's going to go. So if you think like, oh, Tannehill's now going to throw for 300 yards a game and quiet down his detractors, not how it's going to work. They're going to win with Henry running a lot and supplemental play action. He doesn't have the weapons, and his critics aren't going to quiet down. And I'm not critical of his regular season play generally. I think he's been a little too safe this year. Part of that's because of the weapons. I think part of that's mentally because of how last season ended. But ultimately, his judgment's going to come down to what he does in the playoffs. And, there's not a lot of reason to have faith in what he's going to do on January 15th, 16th, or 17th. And if he helps lead them to a win in that game, not a lot of reason to have faith in him doing it a second time. But we'll see. Maybe they change. Dig Up says they landed 2:11 and he was arrested at 3:49. So there's time to account for in there, right? James wants to know what percentage of the Titans coaches players drove home under the influence last night. That's not something that I would speculate on. Hello, Matt Bailey. Hello, Ben Hall. No, Matt, I left. So yeah, Kyle, the economics of NFL quarterbacking are screwed up, and the Titans, you know, went too high and pushed it too far with restructures to accommodate other things. And when those other things that you're accommodating are Julio Jones, who you got, a year out of without a lot of production and with a lot of games on the sideline injured, it makes it hurt that much more. That's for sure. We could talk more about Tannehill. Keep it coming. Thoughts on Ravens? Blake Bedingfield, whose post is up, wasn't particularly impressed. But the pass protection overall was good. That's what enabled this whole thing to really happen. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if he could turn into the left guard, that'd be big. But they don't need him at left guard. Look, they like Brewer at left guard, whether we do or not. I don't think there'll be a competition there until Ben Jones is gone. And Ben Jones has been, really a centerpiece of this thing. I don't see him running to hang it up. So I think next year's premature to call left guard open. I think the interior three will stay intact unless Ben Jones retires, and I'm not expecting him to retire. Injuries, Danico Autry, the knee's not a season ender, I reported last night. Teair Tart, seemed like that he was grabbing his hamstring, but also seemed like he maybe went down the aid with stopping the clock or preventing a Aaron Rodgers free play a second time. And Fulton hamstring. He came into the game with a hamstring, so don't know about that one. Will Craig with a good topic here. He would love it if the refs last night was the league standard. Refs did not call much. Titans played very physically in the secondary, which was a big key to what they were able to do. You saw Packers receivers getting up several times looking for the refs with their hands up like, hey, where's the flag? And there was no flag, and it was certainly a let them play, not a lot of holding calls either, let them play kind of game. And I think Will's not alone in liking what was going on there and wishing we had more like that. Made it an easier game to watch, that's for sure. So I thought, you have to give that crew credit, and it was consistent. That's certainly the case, and that's Bill Vinovich and his crew. I don't have the specifics on the rules for drinking on a plane. I don't think it's allowed. I don't think alcohol at the team facility is allowed, but I find it hard to believe that at the end of some of these long nights, not at the end, but during some of these long nights, that there aren't some beers periodically or a couple fingers of bourbon or something poured. Like in a lot of American offices. Ivan, how you doing? Best passing game you've seen from Tanny and his Titans career. Still cringe at some of the play calling, but the Titans played at a level last night they haven't seen. Promising. I mean, it was a great game. I think you have to account some for the Packers playing poorly on defense. I mean, they did what the Titans want teams to do. They sold out to stop Henry, which allowed them to throw behind that, and they had great success throwing behind that. The question is, how many teams are going to sell out to that degree to stop Henry and be that bad behind it? And then how efficient are the Titans going to be? Are they going to be able to protect as well as they protected last night? And if they protect that well, is Tannehill going to be that accurate? And then if Tannehill's that accurate and he's the least of their problems, are these receivers who are still largely insufficient going to make plays? We saw just a week before they dropped 4 or 5 balls against Denver. Well, last night they caught everything. So last night everything went right, which is terrific. You saw kind of the high bar standard for the Titans. But I don't know if you expect a high bar standard. I would think that the passing offense should be somewhere between where it was last night, where it was against Denver. Tannehill played pretty well against Denver. He had, 4 or 5 drops that really killed him. And the protection wasn't as good as it was last night. So we'll see. I wouldn't imagine, Josh, that this is firing offense for Downing, but we'll see. Josh, I don't think you could look at 0 catches against Kansas City and make much out of it in terms of what this means. That was Malik Willis, who's not an NFL caliber passer right now. And so it's just not apples to apples regarding game planning and what throws are available. Willis has a limited repertoire compared to Tannehill. And if Tannehill had been playing in that game, they would have been featured. I do think it's big. If you look last night, I think Hollister last week played 9 snaps. I think last night he played 7 snaps. And when you look down and you see Burks and Woods and Westbrook-Ikhine, well, that's a better top 3, than they've had on the field a lot. So that's progress. It'd be great if Kyle Phillips could get back and be in the mix there for some slot specific situations and give them a little explosion in that regard. I don't know if Andrew's asking about the safety. I'm not positive that's a reviewable call. I would have asked Vrabel, and I haven't read or rewatched his press conference today. A couple of us missed it because our flights were delayed. But my understanding is his body's got to be all the way in the end zone for that to be a safety, and clearly his body wasn't all the way in the end zone. I don't think a guy, D-Gup, is on or off next year's team based on one game, good or bad. If Downing's suspended for a game or 2 or whatever, and Tim Kelly's not the offensive coordinator for that, then, what's Tim Kelly doing here? He's the passing game coordinator. How that wouldn't be second in command of play calling, I don't understand. Why wouldn't you want it to be the passing game coordinator? As far as we know, he's done absolutely nothing, or had, we have no idea what he's done. That would be great if we could see what Tim Kelly would do as the offensive coordinator. Benjamin, nice to see you too. I mean, if this is the best version of them, I don't think they're drawing a Packers-like team in the playoffs. I mean, if they played 2 games in a row like this, could they go to the AFC Championship? Sure. Are they as good as a healthy Buffalo, Kansas City team that beat them with their second-string quarterback? I don't think so. I don't think they're as good as Miami. I think they'd have trouble defending Miami's receivers. We're going to find out where they stand in comparison to the Bengals in 10 days. I like the Bengals a lot. They've been inconsistent. There are other teams in the AFC who are, in the mix there. Jets are a candidate to come here in the playoffs. You generally would like a game against the Jets, but the Jets have a lot going for them. I wouldn't take last night and turn it into the Titans are Super Bowl contenders because they played a really good, well-rounded game. Woods did look quicker last night. And I don't know where that comes from because he has not looked very quick. Just because a guy's eligible to come off IR doesn't mean he's ready to come off IR with regard to Phillips. Will's talking about NWI and his place in the pecking order, which is absolutely right. He's fourth or fifth, which is where he wasn't. Andrew Clark talks about Simmons definitely wasn't full speed last night, and that's correct. And so he gets some good, well-needed rest now. So that's good. I thought, I was thinking during the game maybe it was a mistake to have played him, and I think there's fair hindsight with Fulton, but he's got a long rest now. Sam, I was wondering about the Packers not adjusting off of the 6 down linemen. I guess they thought they were going to get there. Some teams are stubborn with their plan. And look, they had chances on offense to drive the field and go down there. I don't know how safe you felt like that lead was. But, they were up 2 scores with 9 minutes left, and I still felt like they were in trouble. And Rodgers on 3rd down was missing, I think it was Lazard, who was wide open, had even a 4th down play. He was just off. And look, the Titans did their part to make him off, but I don't think we can deny that his thumb had to be some level of a factor in what was going on there. And so, they're not the Packers of old by any means. Everybody give me a retweet right here. We'll get a little bigger in here. So Ken thinks Tannehill's interception was like the first play in the playoffs. No receiver on the right. The DB had no one to cover, ran to help with Burks. Last year, Bates had no one in his zone and helped with Julio. Play design or Tannehill issue? Well, look, if the play design is poor and that guy's free to come running over there, the quarterback needs to recognize it. So ultimately, it's on Tannehill. I would think that Vrabel said, "That sucks, Todd. Are you all right? I'm sorry this happened. That was a really bad decision, and you've put us in a precarious situation." I have not seen the pictures of Buffalo. I know it must be something if they're deciding on a Thursday to move the game. I would have loved to have seen a game in that kind of crazy snow. But we also have to be conscious. It's not just them moving the game out of a tough game situation, but they need, a lot of those people who make a game happen at a stadium to be helping out with other civic necessities. So it's understandable. Tight end production's gone up for sure. And Swaim still played the most snaps. I thought it was notable also that Chig played the same amount of snaps as Hooper. So, and it wasn't a small number. So that was good. That was good. I mean, Henry, Robert said it's starting to get to the time of the year where DBs really don't want to hit Henry. Henry had nothing longer than 9 yards last night. I don't think there was any fear of hitting Henry last night. Green Bay walled up Henry really well. Really well. Now, they committed huge numbers to doing so, and they paid the price in different ways. Darren, how we doing? At some point, the value Chig brings in the passing game is going to demand more snaps and outweigh Swaim's assumed blocking value. You would think so, wouldn't you? I would think so. I asked Vrabel this last week in the press conference where he wasn't happy with me a couple times where I said, you keep saying you intend to get the ball to him. What's the difference between wanting to and doing? And he didn't really say much. The die is cast, Jamie. So here I am, and we'll see what's going on. But I'll do some of these now, maybe during the day, against stuff you might be listening to that is not as Titans specific or as Titans good. So we'll see about that. I don't know why we have to classify them. I mean, Simmons is better at what he does than Autry at what he does. Though Autry's versatility is giant. I mean, Autry has been an outstanding player for this team, and his arrival. It's no mistake that the pass rush taking off coincided with Denico Autry's arrival. No coincidence whatsoever. Robert asks about the last bomb. So they needed 1 first down in order to run out the clock. They saw a favorable matchup. Some of them said, get Traylon some more confidence. Some of them said, get it on film. I say it was a little dig at LaFleur. I don't think Vrabel loves LaFleur. I don't think he would have done it to Arthur Smith. I think that's fair, Will, to wonder how much Packers' simpler plan was due to Thursday night football, but we won't know. Robert, if I knew more about Kyle Phillips' timetable, I would tell you. If you're not a member of PolkoHurtsky.com, here are details right here. It's a steal at that price. You'd be reading Mike Herndon once a week, Blake Bedingfield before and after games with the scouting review and preview. I do chats like this, except just for the membership during the week and from the press box after the game. So give it some consideration. Some of these guys over in the chat there will testify to what kind of value they think they get out of it. The Bills may not be able to get out of Buffalo, Sam says. Game might have to be moved another day. So maybe we'll get 2 Monday games. My Monday is about the U.S. national soccer team. I'm flying back from Greenville in the morning. I'll go talk to Vrabel. I will get my ass back to this house around the corner and sit in front of that big TV and root on Team USA. No, I don't see more reporters joining my site. I don't think that that's really what I need more time, which I have now. More reporters would cost more money. So if you want to get a lot more people to subscribe, then I might have those resources, but they would be better spent on other things involving me and Blake and Mike. So I don't, I'm not looking for just any voices. I've got, things got my name on it, so it starts with my voice, and I've added 2 voices that I think are valuable. I'm not seeing anybody out there I'm dying to hear from. Rewarding my sources column is pretty good. Yeah, I could try to get Mike in here. It certainly would be a private one. Thanks, Kevin. If you're not a member, please sign up. Oh, Jason, I don't know that I can get into it. I think that play was telling. Do you think he would have done that against Arthur Smith? I think you could presume some of the reasons I would have left Outkick without me spelling things out. And when you spend time kind of negotiating with a big corporation, there isn't always a lot of room to go into great detail about a departure. Yeah, I think people just overrate McMath. I mean, I think if the receivers are playing like they're playing last night, McMath gets half a dozen snaps to run on the field and run deep, and then he has to do something for people to fear him. The New England and Jets game is big for stacking what I think is a very, very good division. Ryan, Rudy Scott. 3 first names for Ryan, Rudy Scott. How about that? It's also big because I'm in position to play Zach Wilson in one of my fantasy leagues, which is unfortunate because he's thrown 7 interceptions, I believe, against the New England Patriots. Autry would definitely be an extension candidate to me. No head coach is ever going to begrudge a guy leaving for a head coaching job. I mean, that's just silly. Might have something to do with the way he left. My plans are to be here beefing up this place, and we'll see where we go from there. Why do I owe the receiving corps a formal apology? This is something that gets confused a lot, LaBradford. What they did last night doesn't change anything they did before that. And it's still probably the shittiest group of receivers in the NFL. But they still caught 0 passes against, was it Kansas City, right? So you understand how what they did last night does nothing to change the fact that they absolutely sucked against the Chiefs, right? I'm praising them now. They had a good night last night. Ryan Tannehill had a very good night last night. That's all accurate and fair. But if we go back to Kansas City, it's still accurate and fair to say they sucked against Kansas City. They dropped 2 crucial balls. Conley's not on the team anymore. I wonder why. And NWI still dropped the ball he has to catch that would have put them in field goal range, that would have put them 2 scores ahead. So what do I owe them an apology for? It's a shitty group of wide receivers that had a good night last night. They hadn't done anything before last night, really. And that still, if you were betting going forward, you'd bet against doing much. And I'd bet against the Titans having a good plan for them next week against Cincinnati. Now, maybe it gets better, generally speaking. But everybody in this room thinks the Titans have bad wide receivers. What will we apologize for? Because they had one good game. What's inconvenient about it, Adam? Can you send me an email at pkuharski@gmail.com? Tell me how you'd like it to work as opposed to how it works. I think Vrabel said it was a really good play by Rasul Douglas, Robert, but I don't remember specifically. I'll just put up Jordan Pace's comment here so that you can get a laugh. Sam raises this. LaFleur did the same thing to the Titans when blowing them out when we last played him with a deep shot to Adams. So I didn't remember that. That's an excellent memory by Sam, and tit for tat. Mindy, good to see you. Thanks. Yeah, Amped is back on the board. I don't know. I'd like to see Burks outsnap NWI Raul, but they bring this shit along slowly. I don't see why Henry wouldn't get a lot of work down the season. We've covered this pretty thoroughly. They ride Henry as hard as they need, as often as they need. They're not interested in saving him up unless he's hurt. I think Malik Willis, Sam, is terrible right now, and it's hard to read what's going to happen. Don't have a lot of specific plans. My specific plan was to exit, focus here, reassess, find some sponsors to beef things up. So if you know any of those, podcast's going to be bigger. I'm joining Odyssey, which is a network. All right. We've been going for 36 minutes. I got to get out of here. Take a couple more if you got a couple more. Then we'll call it a day. I've told you what I know about Todd Downing. I can go look it up, what other people have gotten. I don't think there's a straight standard for it. There might be, but we shall see. Covered injuries earlier. Kevin, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that we had such a nice showing on a Friday afternoon. Maybe I'll survey and we'll see what kind of time we like, but we'll see. Vrabel absolutely covers up a lot of mistakes. I don't think Downing will get fired. I don't think a DUI will be the thing that gets him fired, but we'll see. Yeah, Todzilla, I don't think it's 9/11. I mean, it's really stupid. He's lucky he didn't hurt anybody. Really stupid. But people do really stupid things in multiple walks of life. So why do they need a scapegoat to get rid of him? Sam says the DUI could be the scapegoat to get rid of him. I mean, Mike Vrabel's a big boy. If he wants to fire a coach, he could fire a coach. He doesn't need to wait for him to get a DUI. All right, we're going to call it. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm getting the hell out of town and going to pretend it's Thanksgiving a little bit earlier than it is. Yeah, well, that's why, Todd, you're listening to bad radio out there. I'm giving you a good alternative right in the middle of the afternoon. So I hope that worked out well. Robert's asking about the USA's chance. I mean, the chance would be to advance out of the group into the round of 16. I'm not optimistic, but they're certainly capable of it. So we need it. There's never increased hype or motivation. That Bengals game is long forgotten. Grown men. For you guys, the last year's Bengals game is a big thing. For these guys, last year's Bengals game is ancient history. I appreciate all of you. If you're not subscribers, go sign up right now. Price of a cocktail or a cup of coffee. Or you can get 12 months for the price of 11. I hope you have a great weekend. Don't block the box. Do lock your locks. I will see you soon. Have a great weekend.